Hey, what? You get out of here. Listen, he doesn't know what's about to happen. Today we're making some pork chops, Weber Kettle. You know we'd like to smoke them. So we're going to smoke them, then we're going to reverse sear them, right? We're going to reverse sear them. We're going to... Yo, so here's a quick trick for pork chops. A lot of people are worried when they put the pork chops on the grill that they're going to curl up. I mean, the only real way around that is to either get rid of this fat part here, but what I like to do is just make small little incisions into it. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit down into the meat, but you just make tiny little incisions all the way down. Kind of just score the meat. And what this is going to help you do is it's going to prevent it from doing that little curl action. So just get tiny little incisions. It can be pretty deep. It doesn't have to be super deep. And this is going to help you basically. Really dull knife I'm using for this demo, but that's really all you got to do is just make a few incisions. And now all you got to do is hit them with a nice rub. What I'm going to do, I have this kind of wing dry rub that I use, but it's also really good on pork, I've noticed, because it's, you know, brown sugar, garlic powder, salt, little chili powder. It's just a pretty basic rub, but I'm going to give it a really generous rub on all these guys. Pat it in. You never have to rub your rub, just pat it in. So now that you're all rubbed up, put some plastic wrap over it, toss it in your refrigerator. At least 2 to 3 hours, that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna toss these on the grill. Doesn't take long. Really, if you don't have any time, you still don't have an excuse to mess your pork chops up. Don't just throw them over direct and make them all dry and tough like hockey pucks. Do it reverse sear method, it's gonna taste a lot better. Okay, now that the chops have been chilling in the fridge for a while, it's all about starting up your barbecue. So we got a couple sides going too. We're gonna do some mashed potatoes with some butter, as well as some asparagus. We're gonna throw that all on the propane grill. You can see asparagus in there. Potatoes are about to get in there. But while we're waiting for all that, we gotta get the charcoal started. Because what we're gonna do is we're going to be doing these pork chops kind of low and slow. So you know what, that's probably just enough. We'll have a little bit of overflow, but that's okay. So okay, so we're just gonna use like a zip to get this thing started. So toss it under there. You're gonna wanna find barbecue lighter, something that turns on. With any luck, one of these barbecue lighters will work. Okay, that one turns on. So, zip. The zip will start under any conditions. And one of those cubes is going to be more than enough to get these started. So we got some butter going already. It's a little melted, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss some garlic in there. Just get a couple cloves going. You know, what is that? Maybe 4 cloves of garlic. A lot of butter, a lot of garlic. Yeah. All right, so when you see a fire like this, it's not totally ashed over, but this is good enough for my usage today. I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna fill my briquette basket with some coals. If you miss a couple, if a couple miss the mark, that's okay. Just make sure you have something to clean up your mess. It's time for the chops to go on. So the first step is gonna be take your chops and place them indirect. So we're gonna go indirect for the first setup. And by going indirect, we are going to kind of smoke these chops up a little bit. Okay. So now, we need to monitor the temperature on these guys, and that's going to be a pretty important part of this process because we're going to take them off at about 135 and put them onto the direct heat. So you take your probe, get it all prepped up, because you're going to want to insert a probe into one of these chops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my probe and I'm going to insert it into the biggest chop that I have. Right in the middle there. Right in the center of the chop. So right now we're reading at about 43 Fahrenheit. We're gonna take them to like 130, 135. One more thing we're gonna do. We're gonna toss just a couple pieces of wood on here. Just get a little bit of smoke flavor going. So we're also gonna do some potatoes. I just chopped up some white potatoes, quartered them, halved some of the smaller ones. They're just gonna go right into the pot. Oop. Don't be like me. Make sure you're a little more careful, but just get them in there and make sure they start boiling. Potatoes don't take very long. They're just really, it's all down to tenderness. You're gonna wanna test them after they've boiled for a while. Take a fork. If it doesn't stick, you're good to go. Yo, so for the potatoes, I forgot to film it, but just mash them up once they've been boiled. I used about a half cup butter and just a few splashes of milk just to texture. It looks good to me. And we just got the asparagus going too, just on the propane grill. Wait a sec, Josh. I think we're out of beer.
Oh, fuck, man. We're out of beer?
Rain's coming down. Perfect timing though, because if you take a look at our probe, we're at 134 now. Let's take a peek. So the chops, at this point, they don't even look fully cooked, but that's okay, because what happens with this type of cooking is reverse seared. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our temperature probe, holy fuck, it's lodged in there nice, out. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna save that for later, because now these chops are going on the direct side of the grill. We're gonna sear them off. So what I like to do is just check that bottom side. Boom. The bigger ones are gonna go right in the center here, actually. These smaller ones, I bet you that they're almost actually very close to being finished. And we are going to reverse sear these chops off. So at this point, you have a couple options. You could either watch them attentively, flip them, flip them, flip them. What I like to do, it takes a little bit of time anyways, is just close the grill back up. You know, leave the vents a little bit offset. So at this point, it's a good time to check them. A couple minutes on the grill. They're starting to get some char marks. So what we're gonna do is we're just simply going to flip these guys over. Flip these guys over. Nice. Oh my God, looking beautiful. Oh yeah, that one's looking good too. Hot spot there, so I'm just gonna flip it over. This guy, flip. And at this point, we just keep going. Keep going. All right, guys. So these two are reading them 145. We got them on the indirect side just to get them stay warm while these guys finish up. These guys are looking like they're almost done too. They just run the edges there, so it's a little tougher for them to get cooked all the way through. Another 5 minutes for these guys and we're done. All right, so you can see the plate. Pretty classic. Some mashed potatoes, some asparagus, beautiful pork chops. Toss a little barbecue sauce in there. Sorry, I didn't show you that part. But we're going in, man. We're taking a bite. Oh yeah. Beautifully cooked. Tiny smoke ring too, from a little bit of that smoke. Let's take a bite. So what you do, take your garlic press, throw a couple cloves in there, get it set, and then just squeeze. Oh! Spiller. Sammy's the spiller, that's okay.